Mike Vapes here. Welcome to my channel. I got a nice review to do for you today on this little tiny mod that came into me. It's a nice product and it came from, well, hold on, let me hit that shit first. Fuck. Okay, and I'm gonna hit that shit now. Oh man, did you see that? Let me hit that shit again. This little guy, okay, 75 watts, temperature control, Hell's Gate, and it's nice and tiny. And as you can see here, it's very tiny compared to my Snowwolf Mini. It's nice and tiny compared to the Vaporesso Target, and it's also very nice and small compared to the Punisher 80. And now I'm gonna hit this shit too, so just bear with me while I hit this. But first, let me hit that shit. Okay, I'm not going to tell you much about this. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Some devices it doesn't want to read. Most of the time it's okay, but you can hit that shit real good. And that's that for the product review on that one. Hey guys, Daryl Shergan, Quest for Vape. And the reason I'm wearing this hat is because I'm doing a review for the Hell's Gate mod. And when they sent this to me, it came in a package with basically this and a letter that said, "Dear Mike Vapes, thank you very much for reviewing our product and all the specs," and a couple of pages of photocopied letter. And I knew I was expecting this to arrive. The day before it got here, Mike Vapes texts me and he goes, "Hey Daryl, did you get a package that was supposed to go to me?" And I said, "No, why?" Because his package had a letter addressed to Daryl Shergan and mine had a letter addressed to Mike Vapes. So when I got this, I figured, okay, that was cute. Let me do something cute. And then Target of Opportunity, Kohl's had this for sale. So I got the Mike Vapes hat, and I think I'm going to put some Mike Vapes lettering on here. But in the meantime, I thought I would have fun with a little bit of a parody. My good buddy over there, I'm not mocking him. He's a great guy. He's a great reviewer. And I've had an opportunity to hang out with him a bunch of times. So I'm going to hit that shit. Hats don't look good on me because I have a pea-sized head, so that's enough of that. Anyway. Mike, when you watch this, I hope you got a kick out of that. You know, I was going to do a whole big thing where I went through the instruction manual and I said, okay, step number 1, hit that shit. And then after you hit that shit, step number 2, hit that shit again. That's good. And then finally, hit that shit one more time. And there you go. That's the review. Hit that shit and keep hitting it. But I'm not going to do that. Let me talk about this guy. You're not getting a device like this for battery life. You're getting a device like this because it's cute and it's small and it has the power to power 75 watts in a little stealthy vape like that. I mean, this is the size of an iStick 30 watt. It's tiny. It's really tiny. You know, they claimed it was the tiniest one for the size and the power. It probably is, and it does some pretty good temperature control. You know, if you want state-of-the-art precision temperature control, you got to get yourself a Ni200. If you really want to get into the profiles and the e-scribe and the tweaking of things and coefficients of metal, you got to get a sophisticated device like that, and you got to spend $200 or so from any number of companies. And if you don't want to spend that much and you want 200 watts, then you get something like the Relo RX200. If you want 75 watts, this fits in your pocket. Yeah. Very nice, very tiny. They seem to have packaged, I mean, they did a good job, and it's slightly smaller than the Snowwolf Mini, and it's lighter. Let's take a look, you know, up close of the Hell's Gate 75 watt temperature control mod. This is from Ecig, Ecig.com. This is the version 2. This is a regulated device. Last year they came out with a mechanical mod that had, it was just a crazy design. It had 2 RDAs, dual 18650 battery. This is not to be confused with that, but it is the same company. This is the reinvention of themselves. Hell's Gate 75-watt temperature control mini box mod, 0.05 ohms up to 1 ohm in temperature control mode and 0.1 ohm to 3 ohms in variable wattage mode. And it will fire from 5 watts to 75 watts in 1 watt increments. It uses a 2400 milliamp hour internal battery. Interesting. So this is saying it uses a 2650 battery, rechargeable. Okay, and you don't take the battery out. It is internal onboard charging with a micro USB, and this gives you all the other specs. All right. The most notable thing about this, it has a very colorful display screen, and it is very tiny, and it records the vaping time, which is cool. Other than that, you know, it's a cute little tiny 75-watt device. We have plenty of 75-watt devices out on the market, but I'm going to go ahead mixy-matchy and line this up against a couple of others after I show you the specs on this. So this is the mod. You got your vent holes on the bottom, micro USB charging port, okay, input 2 amps. All right, power button, there's your 510. Yes, it is spring loaded. I'm not going to jab at that for you, and I've been using this for a couple of weeks now. Actually, I've had this way too long. They're overdue for a review. Hit it 5 times, turns it on. Look at that cool display. No atomizer detected, no kidding. All right, it's not the best battery life, but it's not the biggest mod in the world either. If you want to compare this to other devices that are 75 watts, it's tinier than the IPVD2. It's tinier than the Snow Wolf Mini. It's tinier than, this will put it in perspective. It's the same size as the Noisy Cricket. All right. And I'm going to show you, I'll go grab a couple of mods. Form factor and size, this thing is, it's like slightly bigger than the Crown Tank. Noisy Cricket. Not that they're in the same class, but this gives you a comparison for size. Snow Wolf Mini. It is smaller. Yes, it had a QC quality control. It's so tiny, it comes in one of these, like normally a subohm tank comes in these type of things. But in this case, a mod comes in there. And it comes in black, stainless steel, red, and blue. Pull this out, we got a instruction manual, a user manual. Read that, get familiar with it. I'm not here to teach you how to use this device. I'm going to do a run through of it, but let's flip through the screens. Diagrammatic sketch. Okay. There's your specs. Fahrenheit mode, power mode. Here's the different parts. Here's your protections. Smoking while charging. So it does have pass through. And it says the battery is not damaged if you vape pass through while you're charging. False alarm. Okay, read that stuff. Power adaptation. Go ahead and read that stuff. Does it work in temperature control? Yes, it does. It will back down power. It will shut off power if you're running dry. It will attain the desired max temperature in Fahrenheit or Celsius for nickel and titanium in that mode, and it will back down power as it approaches the max temperature, and it will give you a need juice or whatever indication. It'll cut power if you're running out of juice for dry hit prevention. Very cool. These are the different colors it comes in. I would say this thing is a little cutie. I love it. I mean, the size in my hand. It's a little fickle. For some reason, it didn't like to power my my crown tank, the black crown tank I have. It didn't want to read the atomizer. I don't know why. But let me throw a tank on here. We'll see if I can duplicate that confusion in the mod. But I powered drippers on here at 0.1. In fact, it's probably not going to want to power this because it's a fairly high amp draw. But let's go ahead. It's in wattage mode. Yeah, that's a lot of wraps right there. This is a build that I use on my Noisy Cricket, and it's powering that sucker. You're not going to get a lot of battery life if you're rocking 15 wrap dual coil 24 gauge all day long on this. But it handled itself pretty well. I would get not a full day, but most of the day on the crown, vaping at around 60 to 70 watts. And it handled the 70 to 75 watt range no problem. Let's go ahead and, all right, no problem reading them today. So this is reading, I got the 0.5 ohm coil on here. It's reading it just fine. Let's go check out temperature control. So this guy has a little menu. You see the lock, and then the little menu in the middle, and then the help. So 3 clicks gets you into that mode. And then you have very similar to the SMY Pocket mod. You've got work mode, gives you your choices: variable wattage, temperature control, nickel in Celsius, Fahrenheit, titanium in Celsius, titanium in Fahrenheit. Whatever's high lit and blue is the thing we're in. So we're going to go back to variable wattage. All right. Actually, puff time info. So you can reset. Let me reset this. And it goes to 0. Exit. See this right here, puff time info? It's actually going to count my puff time. That's 1 second. And that's nice. If you want to see exactly how much puff time you're getting on a battery, you can track that. The main thing I look at is, here's the battery charge meter, here's in display, here's the resistance of the coil. It's showing me the amp draw, which is very, very, very nice to know. I like to know the amp draw. And then 5.2 volts, 49 watts. Very simple. So it does power all the way up to 75 watts. And look at that nice display. Very CMYU-esque. And all the way down to 5 watts. These guys contacted me, asked me if I could review the product. Sure. They sent it to me. I did not pay for this device. They only sent me one. Sorry, no giveaway. Let's see what... I don't know what that question mark, how you get to that, but like I think it has the whole menu on here. Like if you just like the SimIU does. SimIU is SMY, the little pocket mod. I have juice in here. I'm just going to take a quick vape. All right. Let's go take a look at temperature. No, I don't have anything set up for temperature control at this particular moment. So the workaround for that is you got to do it in quick succession. Work mode. Titanium, Fahrenheit. Good. Now, 550 degrees. You don't really get to change wattage. It's going to internally regulate. So titanium is fairly close to stainless steel. It's not exactly like that. It doesn't work very well, but in a pinch, if I want to demonstrate, see what it's doing here? It's not attaining, because it doesn't need to attain 550 degrees Fahrenheit to get a good vape. It's only going to hit that if the tank runs dry. So I don't have a dry tank right now to demonstrate, but I have checked it out, and it does back down power and it does shut off power. And it's been performing well. It's a little cutie. Now let me go ahead and stack this up, line it up against a few other devices so you can see form factor and size. It was impressive. It was able to power some pretty high amp draw builds that I was surprised, and I want to do this again. I just sizzled it. I didn't really hit it, just because this is a very high amp draw build. This is what I use for my noisy cricket. This is the Subohm Innovations RDA. Let me get it out of temperature control. Work mode. Exit. Okay. So 60 watts. It's a real slow ramp up. It is powering it. $11.9 amps. All right. So that's interesting. I didn't know how many amps this thing was drawing. Good to know. And that is a 0.56 build. Let's see it power another fairly aggressive mech mod build. I'm not suggesting you use this in lieu of a mech mod. How it functions best is probably with a nice subohm tank. Whatever your favorite subohm tank is. I mean, the TFV4 is going to be bigger than this thing. It's probably going to be, actually, form factor. This coral tank is the exact same size as the TFV4. Whoop. And it's as big as this mod. So like, this is going to look a little funny. It is going to look a little funny, but it'll power it. Atomizer 0.24. Yeah, this is like the Jack Russell Terrier of temperature control 75-watt mods. It's tiny, but it has a punch. That's probably going to... It's not liking that high, 17.3 amps. It's not loving that high amp draw. I didn't notice in here, if you want to go back and see what's the max amp draw, I'm probably going to guess 20 amps. It'll cut off. Oh, power supply current greater than 40 amps. It's got a built-in 20650 lithium battery, 2400 milliamp hour battery capacity, power supply current greater than 40 amps. I don't think it liked that. I don't push it on 40 amps, but also let's try it with another fairly aggressive build. I have dual parallel 24 gauge. What I'm rocking on my AV mod right now, my Able with the mod father. That actually looks kind of cool. Yeah, this is that's a 0.14 ohm build. It's 24 gauge in parallel. It'll power it. 21.6 amps. 21.6 amps. You're not going to be able to fire like that all day long. Not that high in amp load on 2400 milliamp hours. The point is, can it do it? Yes, it can. It can power some fairly aggressive builds. But again, what's in here? An 18650 battery. What's in here? A 2 650, slightly bigger than an 18650 battery. I've never seen a 2650, not 26650, 20650. I've never seen one of those size batteries for sale in the market, but that's interesting. So that's the power source. Yeah. Why all this comparison? Just kind of like give you a feel for what this guy can do if you put it to the test. I guess it's probably safer to power a build like that on there than it is on here, but unregulated is going to give me the experience I want. So all right, if you don't do builds like that on here, that's not its purpose. It's a temperature control mod that did get it kind of hot, and I don't know. Yeah, the mod overall got quite hot from doing that, so stay away from that. I did it so you don't have to. There, curiosity satisfied. I took away your compulsive nature to feel the need to do that. This is the 0.5 ohm coil on the crown tank at 55 watts. That's a nice vape. No problem there. Nice vape. So that's that. That's the range of what this little guy can do. I don't have any temperature control set up right now, so you're going to have to take my word for it. It does work on temperature control. That's where you're probably going to find it optimal. Using a tank with a nickel or a titanium or a stainless, well, it doesn't do stainless steel, but nickel or titanium coil at somewhere around 30 to 50 watts. Yeah, that probably would last all day, but I'm not very keen on, I don't vape temperature control all day long, so you're going to have to wait for somebody to review this product that likes temperature control enough to want to use it day in, day out. My purpose is showing you the device, getting it out of the box, vaping on it, talking about the experience. Does it work? Works just fine. Works just as well as this. Works just as well as this. Well, it works just as well as this. My IPVD2, when I had it, worked just as well as that. That I gave to a smoker. You know, you're going to end up having to plug this thing in. If you're in wattage mode, it's not going to last a full day on that battery. It'll last close to it, but again, the same thing with any of these. It's not got any more milliamp hours than whatever you would put to run 55 to 75 watts in this. What kind of battery am I going to use for that? A 2500 milliamp hour, 25 amp battery for that. So, you know, that's that. That's about it. Do I like it? I like it. I don't know how much it costs. I don't know where you buy it. But if you get it, you're probably going to enjoy it. I'm enjoying it. It's a little cutie. So that's the pros. The pros are it's tiny, it's sleek, that display is really cool as hell. It has temperature control, versatility that works well. The cons, doesn't have a hell of a lot of battery life. None of these do. So I wouldn't really call it a con. It does get kind of, I hate calling things fingerprint magnets, but this, you know, it's got this nice glossy black display. This does collect crud. The finish on it is a nice rubbery latex type of coating on this edge around there, and this is some sort of acrylic or plastic. It's not glass, and it seems pretty durable, although I wouldn't go dropping this thing intentionally. And it has that puff counter, and it does read amp draw, which is nice. I like those. All right, so you get a nice tiny 75 watt mod with some cool features in it and a good vaping experience. It does have pass-through. You can, let me demonstrate that. It does have pass-through charging capability, which means while it's charging, and you see that red light means it's charging, you can vape on it. There's the display. Shows me a little red lightning bolt. That means it's charging, and You can vape while charging, and it says it doesn't damage the battery at all. Now, if you want, you can kind of like track by the puff counter how much actual vape time you get on this per battery charge. And then that's it. You don't replace batteries. You don't open this thing up. So 6 months to a year on this, and that battery is this thing has a functional obsolescence to whenever that internal battery they stop working after. I've never seen, like, people with iStick 50 watts. If they're still working now a year later, that's impressive. Those have two 18650 batteries internally. That's why it's a 5,000 milliamp hour device. So this is 2400 milliamp hours. Yeah, I imagine you'll get yourself anywhere from 6 months to a year's worth of use out of this. They've probably well under $100. I would imagine a price point on this somewhere equivalent to the SMY 60-watt pocket mod, which you can upgrade to 75 watts. And it really feels like it has a very, very similar menu to that. The way this works is very similar to that. That's the closest comparison in the market. And I forgot, I have it packed away. I forgot to compare it, but this is smaller than that one. There you go, guys. That's the device. Quest for Vape, thank you for watching. Unfortunately, they only sent me one of these, and I'm not giving this away, so there is no giveaway for this video. You'll just have to enjoy the information I shared. Please like, subscribe, share. Find me on Facebook, find me on Twitter, find me on Instagram. Quest for Vape.